a long time ago in a land far away, there was a Greek runner who was training for the Olympics. His name was Marcus, and he loved running, and he was fast, and he actually had a chance to win the games and get the crown of laurel leaves. But Marcus had one hang up. He didn't like to run like all the rest of the runners. You see, in the ancient Greek world, they didn't have spandex or running shorts. What they would do is they would take their togas off and drop them on the sides of the racetrack and run in the nude. Well, Marcus did not like that for several reasons. There were parts of his body that he just didn't think everyone should see. He was a little insecure about a couple of things, and he just didn't want anyone to see his chicken legs. So he just didn't like having his body out there to be seen. He was also a family member of a noble family, and there were certain markings on his toga that told everyone how important he was. And if he took his toga off, then he would be just like everyone else. And so when the day of the big race came, Marcus decided that he would run with his clothes on. And while all of the rest of the runners stripped down and got ready to run, he pulled his toga up around his knees and said, "I think I'll be fine." Well, the signal for the race went off and everyone just bolted out of there as fast as they could. And Marcus was running for all he was worth, and he couldn't, get totally into his stride because instead of pumping with his arms, he was holding his toga. And togas, I don't know if you've ever worn a toga, but they're really long pieces of fabric that are just kind of wrapped around your body and your shoulder and tied around and flipped around, but they don't have Velcro or zippers or buttons. And as Marcus ran, the toga started to become loose. It started to kind of bounce, and it flipped up over his shoulder and started dragging out behind him, and it slid down his chest, and pretty soon he was holding a huge bundle of clothes around his waist, trying to run, but it was just spilling out of his hands. And then it happened. It just got caught up between his feet, and he tripped and he fell hard. I mean, he fell so hard. And there was the toga, trailed out behind him, wrapped around his feet, but not covering anything but his ankles. You see, when runners run, they don't let anything keep them from their destiny, from winning the race. That's why Paul said in the New Testament, "Let us throw off every sin that so easily entangles us and run the race with endurance, with focus." You see, runners know there's certain things that will keep them from being in shape. So they don't eat certain things, they don't drink certain things, they don't do certain things, and they for sure don't wear togas on the days of the Olympics. And as Christians, we also have a race that we run in. We also have a destiny. And it's really interesting that Paul uses this analogy because in the Bible, clothes are a symbol of our character. The first time we heard about clothes in the Bible is the contrast between the robe of light that Adam and Eve wore and the fig leaves that they sewed for themselves. Jesus says, "Put on my robe of righteousness." You see, we all have actions and deeds and reputations, clothes, if you will, that we put on ourselves that tell everyone who our social status is, that tell everyone that we're actually better than we really are, that hide our true self from other people. And sometimes it trips us up and we fall down. Maybe your robe is an addiction that you go to feel good during this time of quarantine. Maybe it's something to numb the pain. And I'm not here to tell you you're a bad person for having that outlet. I'm here to tell you you're a better person than to run your race with a toga that's tripping you up. Take it off. Throw it down. You don't need that in your life. Maybe you're struggling with bitterness, or you're like me and you just feel like you got to defend yourself if anyone ever misunderstands you or puts you down. Or maybe you're struggling with, you know what you're struggling with. You know that it's slowing you down and tripping you up and keeping you from your destiny. And the cool thing is, all you have to do is make the decision to take it off and throw it down. Because Jesus will do the rest. Jesus will cover your nakedness and shame. Jesus will give you strength where you are weak. Jesus will take your evil and selfish and fearful deeds and cover them with his noble and selfless and brave deeds. Today is a great day to look at your toga and say, you know what? I'm running a race and I don't need this. And you look up and you say, God, in the name of Jesus, I take this off. This anxiety, I'm throwing it down. This lust, I'm throwing it down. This selfishness, I'm throwing it down. This grudge, I am throwing it down. This, you name it, you throw it down. And then you say, Jesus, I'm going to look at you and I'm going to run my race because, friend, let me tell you, you have a destiny to fulfill. You have great things to do. And you will not be able to do it wearing that toga. So take it off and run with endurance. Because Jesus says no matter what happens, he will be with you to that finish line. God bless.